Out into the wild, indigenous child, surviving formidable trials. I stand in the rain, scanning the plains in pursuit of the villainous fire. Who's got everything that I love and to flame, descent is my name.
Hi, I'm Ducky.
And I'm Big Red.
And we're Red Duck Reviews. And today we're reporting to you live from the sewers of New York City. When I saw the first trailer for this movie, I was very underwhelmed. I really didn't know what to think because they didn't show us anything.
When I seen the second trailer for this movie, I was starting to have a lot of higher hopes. I thought that it was going to be very good.
And this was not a good movie at all. But there were some good parts, like the action scenes. The action scenes were amazingly done. My favorite turtle has to be Mikey, because I honestly think that he had the funniest lines in the entire movie. But unfortunately, all of the turtles had very generic personalities.
And with all of the characters being very generic, you know, you had Leonardo, who was the generic leader, you had Donatello, who was the generic nerd, Raphael, who was the generic rebel, and Mikey, who was the generic goofball. They were all, you know, very, very generic. However, I thought that Leonardo, personally, was the best done in the movie, and I think that he was my favorite out of all of the rest of them.
Another thing I liked was the Shredder's suit. I thought it looked freaking awesome with those knives / swords, whatever you want to call them. He can shoot them out and use like these magnet things to draw them back in.
Now, there's a lot of things in this movie that I did not like, that I disagreed with, but one of my biggest complaints was Shredder. I don't understand what they were thinking with him. He looked like some kind of cross between Grimlock and Noisy Boy. I didn't understand what they were going for, and, you know, I don't know if they were going for the bigger was the better. That was another thing. Everybody was huge in this movie. The Shredder, when you see him standing next to the businessman, he's a good 1.5 feet taller than he is. April O'Neil standing next to the Turtles, they're huge. I don't understand why they made everybody so huge, and with that, they gave the guy that was already bigger than average height this giant mech suit that had thousands of knives that shot out. I did not like it. I didn't think that it was very good. I think if they would have went with a very original, simplistic kind of suit that you'd seen in the animated series and in the past movies, it would have been perfect. You know, less is more.
Unfortunately, the Shredder himself, I felt, was a very watered-down villain. I mean, there wasn't anything, like, unique about him. I mean, sure, he had a very good fighting prowess, but other than that, he had nothing.
Now, with that being said, one of my favorite scenes in the movie had to have been the elevator scene, which was awesome. They started to make some music with their weapons and started singing these little catchy tunes, which was cool, but the whole thing lasted maybe 15 seconds. And that was another thing. When I seen April O'Neil was going to be played by Megan Fox, my only reaction was, what the f***?
That I absolutely did not like about this movie was the fact that they felt the need to have April be connected to the Turtles and Splinter, because her father was the scientist who helped develop the mutagen that mutated them, and she personally knew them when they were still regular turtles and Splinter was still a regular rat.
Another thing that I didn't agree with was, while in the sewers, just one day, Master Splinter happens to stumble upon a book about ninjutsu, and I found it to be a kind of a big cop-out when it came to explaining their martial arts background. I didn't care for the way that they did that too much, and I think that is why I have to give this movie a 2 out of 5, an ugly duckling.
Now, I'm going to have to rate this movie a 2, an ugly duckling.